like to say one thing about the ABA this morning and say it in one word, and that is opportunity. 15 years ago, I joined the ABA as a member in New York City, and the reason that I'm a former restaurant critic is from opportunity that I received by being a member of ABA. Had I not been there, in fact, had I not gone to this meeting that I didn't want to go to, because it was a day like today, it was in New York, and I didn't want to make the commute, and I met a guest, and I wound up getting an opportunity of a lifetime in becoming a restaurant critic for the Times-Ledger News Group. My opportunities continued being in the ABA when Ellen Volpe and Gene Brown approached me and said, how would you like to start the ABA in New Jersey? So kind of like the guy on TV, the Hair Club for Men, I went from being a member to being a partner. And that was 10 years ago. And in those 10 years, you know, I think back when I started out, and I was really nervous. I didn't know if this was going to work. I didn't know if anybody was going to show up. But opportunity knocked once again. And on the other side of the door, you won't believe this, stood Danny Wood. Now there's an eye-opener. And Danny was the first member of the ABA in New Jersey. And he's still here. And he was quickly followed by Stuart Berger from Sachs Macy Frome, from Schwartz Simon Elston Celso, the law firm, Jonathan Kramer from Progressive Solutions. And they helped me build this group, or these groups that we have here in New Jersey. And we have all been very fortunate to be able to share a lot of opportunities together and a great deal of success. And this morning, it is with great pleasure that I take this opportunity to introduce you to the founder of ABA, American Business Associates, Ellen Volpe. You're on.
I brought Bob something last night. I'm going to pass it around. I don't think that it's an accident that I'm standing here. It's certainly not an accident that we're together. You know, those of you who are members, who isn't a member in the room? Okay, good. Dolores.
Yeah, it's by osmosis.
It's by osmosis. It isn't an accident that I'm standing here and that I have a relationship with Bob. This is a copy of a business directory that my father handed me that I didn't really understand the importance of when he handed it to me. I don't think that he did. This is a directory, a 1927 directory that my grandmother actually created of a networking organization that she started in New York. And this is the 1927 edition of it, and it's got a calendar in it, and it has her advice, and it has the members, and it has what day they meet. And if you have any relatives in Brooklyn, they're probably in this book right here. And I'm sorry I didn't bring the picture of my grandmother because she had 5 children. They were bakers, and they were very famous bakers in New York. They baked for Babe Ruth and all the dignitaries that you can think of that time. And she was out doing her thing while my aunt was raising her other 4 children. And anyway, it's a fun story. And how am I here, and why did it happen? You know, what happens in ABA is very much it's very much tied to the quality and the caliber of the people that are at the beginning stages. We sort of set the bar. I actually come out of insurance administration, and in 1988, I quit my job after, well, it's a long story, it doesn't matter. While I was in my redefinition phase, somebody introduced me to a man that actually created ABA as a franchise. But it was 1988, and there were groups in New Jersey. Some of you might remember those groups. There were groups in Connecticut, and there were corporate groups in New York. And the people that were actually running the 2 franchises, one in Jersey and one in Connecticut, were running them part-time. And again, it was at a time when nobody really was doing this in a formal way. And I thought to myself, on Long Island, there was nothing like this. There was a men's group, but no women could go there. And there was nothing else. I invested in a franchise that lasted 4 years, and he left because it was pushing a string. There was no context for why this is so powerful. Suffice it to say, I made my investment. I wasn't leaving town. I built the organization one person at a time, very much like the people here, one person at a time. You cannot create this type of community, the quality and the caliber of the people, by placing an ad in the newspaper and hoping that people show up. Because this is about who you know of the same quality and caliber. A very important piece, because we're not hundreds and hundreds of members. We're a small, very successful community of people. There are 13 groups. People keep asking me that. The evolution of the networking obviously has changed. When I started it, it was very much small communities of people, not looking for large numbers, but who were committed to making appropriate connections and supporting each other through the peaks and valleys of life. You know, if you've been around, you know, it's, where are we now? I'm not really sure whether that's a peak or a valley. But what I do know about today's world is that the opportunities are crazy, and I'm sure that you all feel this way. It's a little distracting. It's like every day there's another siren. There's nothing, there's something else and something else and something else. It's America. And yes, we have people that are in the valley, but we have opportunities. What happens when you know the right people with those opportunities is that you can create whatever you want to create. What's important is that you're connected. We feel that we have some secret sauce, and it really is not that secret, because it really is about relationship and authenticity. And somebody said it to me this morning. It's really about being focused on other people, helping those people. I like the Zig Ziglar, help as many people get what they want and you'll get what you want. You meet a lot of people today that don't really understand that. They can't take risks, they don't like to make connections. But at ABA, I like to say that our main job, that is your main job as a member, is to make connections. Do I mean that in a transactional way? No, I do not. But you can be involved in any conversation and find some commonality, somebody you know that somebody else should meet, because you get inspired. The problem with inspiration is that if you don't take the next step, if you don't follow through, if you don't make that connection for somebody, it's just inspiration that it diminishes. It has no possibility. Can you do everything for everybody? You can't, but I believe in 80-20 in the world, and I know, again, if you help as many people get what they want, you will get what you want. The importance for today, for today's world, is that anything can happen at any moment. And that can be personally with health or financial issues. It can be in business. You can lose your best account. You can lose your best person. You can not have the proper documentation in your business and have some catastrophe happen. The problem with all of these potential issues is that if you don't have the appropriate connections in your life, if you haven't taken the time to develop the assets, then you are at risk. Most of the people that are connected to ABA will never be at risk. I was mentioning that we have people that lose their jobs. They're excellent people, but all of a sudden they have no job. Within a month, they're reinvigorated. They have their job. They've been connected. They're back in business. If you don't have the connections, you are not. You're not in that space. So I just want to spend a minute telling you what I think we're not. And I think that it's important that everybody actually understands this, because the evolution of networking now came from small groups, lots of leverage, to large environments where there are business card exchanges. I mentioned to a few people here this morning that two people in transition are now networking like crazy, trying to find their next thing. They told me that last week they met 100 people. So I just met 30 some odd people and I'm having a hard time. It's not possible for you to just be, for anybody, just to be collecting business cards today. It's too much. You can't handle it. You can't do the work, prospect for your business, close new business, and make all of these appointments for other places where you're milling around and not really getting your needs met. Networking has turned into business card exchange. Please, when you describe us, we are a business development organization. Where else can you get the amount of information that Bob is giving you about other things that aren't about networking? Where can you meet a group of people that can help you solve the problems? It's not happening at a business card exchange. We are a business development group of highly successful professional people who happen to network well. So when you're out and you want to invite somebody to come and visit us, please don't say that I want to take you to your networking group. Because the connotation of that is transactional, frustrating, and not effective for most people. It's important that you recognize that the investment that you made to be here is a lifelong investment. My oldest group is 25 years old. Half of those people have been together over 25 years. New people come in, they're immediately embraced, and the leverage starts to happen. Again, we're not a transactional organization. We talk about intelligent things and build bridges for people and create ideas and opportunity. It happened to us this morning. This opportunity to be in conversation with people that actually want to listen to you is something that's unique. It's not happening elsewhere. The people that are guests today, you are in the I'm losing a word. You're in the beehive. Where are we? Well, you could call it a beehive. There's a word that's not coming to me, but I came from Long Island yesterday, so I'm like. But you're in the presence, thank you. You're in the presence of people that actually get it and that are interested in learning about what you do and how you do it and how you might do things together. Today's world is all about leverage. It's really all about taking the opportunity to see what assets you have and see how you can connect them to other people. Your database today is more important than you actually understand that it is. Because when we meet, I'm going to see something that you can't see for yourself. And you might not want what I see, which is sometimes why people don't connect. You know, just because I have a great idea for your business doesn't mean that you're ready to do it or that it even makes sense for you. But what it does say to you is that I'm thinking about your business. There's something there where collaboration can take place, or you can bring in a new type of service because somebody else has some skill that you don't have that's a great fit for your business. That's what we do here. We look for opportunities to leverage. I mentioned this morning to somebody, my pet peeve lately is LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn is such a great tool, but it is not what people think it is. Because last night, I got an email, I got a text from somebody asking me if I know anybody at BP. Why would I know anybody at BP? The thing about what we do here is that I don't have to know somebody that I know that knows somebody else might know them. And because I have trust and influence with people, I can get to those people. And that's what happened last night. I put BP in LinkedIn. I looked at where my connections were. I also remembered somebody else at the same time. And I'm making connections today to somebody that I don't really even know. On the reverse of that, because I know that I know those people, sometimes I'll put somebody's name in LinkedIn and I'll come up with somebody where there's a connection and I'll email that person and say, I see that Joe is in your LinkedIn. Can you help me? And more often than not, you know this, I don't know them. Please go into your LinkedIn and get rid of the dead people that you don't know, because they're just cluttering your opportunities. That's not an asset for you. Your LinkedIn should be mirroring the people that you know and trust and that know and trust you. It's not about 500 names. It's not effective. Can't really do anything with that. So I encourage you to clean it up. When somebody says to me, can you help me with this? I go immediately to LinkedIn. I want to see where there's some connection that I might have and some introduction that I can make. And that makes it powerful for me. Last night, I love this. Last night, I'm sorry, Dolores.
Yes.
Last night you said to me, so what?
Oh, some will,
Some
some
won't.
won't. So
So
what?
what? Have you heard that?
SW rule.
Right. Going back to my 80-20 concept, some of the pitfalls of what it is we do here are that I might make an introduction to you, and that person might not actually do what they're supposed to do. They might not show up. They might not call you back. They might actually make you look bad. I want to leave you with a thought today, and that is there are pitfalls to what we do here because of human nature. My experience lately is that when people come to me to complain either about another person or some effort that they're making that's not really connecting, is to put some humanness to what it is we're doing here and have realistic expectations of other people. So many people have problems today. So many people have opportunities today. Some people have new babies today, new grandchildren today. They are taking care of elderly parents. They had a flood in their basement. There's the full catastrophe of life. And if you don't think that it's happening around you, I want you to open your eyes and recognize that every person that you meet has some issue, problem, frustration that they're dealing with that you can't see. And when you walk into this world and you start to connect people and you wonder why they didn't call you back, or say, Danny gave me something, connected me to that person, but that person never called me back, that's bad Danny. It's ridiculous. You have to understand that this has a very human element to what it is we're doing here. And if somebody didn't call you back or didn't follow up with a referral that you gave them, cover their back instead of complaining. Call up Dan and say, I gave you that. You didn't follow up yet. You know what happened? It got on the desk and then it got piled on top of everything else that happened that day. We need to help each other do this better. We need to remind people what they have missed, if they've missed something. We need to help people make the connections. One of the persons on Long Island that I love the most is a woman in the title insurance business. And why do I like her? Because she has done nothing for the last 12 years but connect people. And we all know what she does. It's no mystery. She is wildly successful in a downturn in the real estate industry where lots of her competitors have gone out of business and they're gone. She is wildly successful because all she does is connect people. And she knows how to do it. She does it, it's like a sixth sense. It's like a great pair of shoes. She just does it. That's one thing. Another thing that I want to share with you is that I had a joint meeting just like this meeting around the Jewish holidays for scheduling issues. We have a guy who was not going to come to the meeting. It's easy to blow this off. You know the people, I'll see them next time. I have 10 things I have to do today. It's easier not to show up sometimes. You might not feel like it. He was going to blow it off. We had a guest in the room. So what does he do? He's a financial guy, but he deals with foundations. And he, puts the programs in place and he does what he does. And he's quite successful. One of the reasons he's successful is he does everything I tell him to do. And I say that with all due respect. We have a process here. We have procedures here. we let you do what you're comfortable with, but if you listen to Bob and do what he says, you will increase your opportunities. John was going to blow the meeting off. He needs a guy who doesn't look on the face of anything that he has anything to do with foundations. Actually, the man is representing a manufacturer on Long Island who manufactures some new fangled piece of equipment for chiropractors. And he was a CFO, but he became the president of the division of that company. But John introduced himself, and the guest came running over when we had a break. And the guest is the financial person for a huge religious institution that has $20 million, and they were just talking about needing to review it and to find somebody new to take it over. He already had the appointment. He was going to blow the meeting off. You know, showing up is everything. And John, by the way, and there are a few people in the room that do this, is constantly bringing guests to the room. So God, the universe, you name it, it's all energy. And he put a lot of energy in, and he continues to put that energy in, and it just paid off for him. So just a little bit of testimony.